Thank you. Right, shall we carry on? We've got Mark and Jon from the Logic Group up next talking about how to maximise your mobile customer engagements. Mark's worked in payments for 10 years, I believe, is that right?
Right.
And Jon leads customer loyalty management consulting practice at Logic. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just like to start with talking a little bit about the Logic Group, because it's a slightly different audience to the kind I'd normally talk to. And some of you may have heard of us. I'd imagine many of you haven't. So the Logic Group, we talk about point interaction and we talk about customer engagement throughout this presentation. But really where our core strengths are is we've been doing payments for over 25 years in the UK market, and we've also been running loyalty programs on behalf of retailers. So when we talk about payments, about 35% of all card payments go through our software. And on the loyalty side of it, very bespoke, very large programs, and we've been doing that for over 10 years in the UK. So when we talk about this, we're talking about it from maybe a slightly different view that's been discussed today, but I'm sure a lot of it will dovetail into, I think, the exciting opportunity we have with the mobile. So I'm going to run through a little bit on the trends that we're seeing within our retail community, and some of the developments that I think will really launch the mobile is one of the primary ways people engage. And I'm going to focus a lot on NFC. NFC is near-field communications, and it's a new technology within the handsets coming to market at the moment, which will enable us to do a lot more with the consumer. So I think we all agree that the mobile has changed over the last few years. When I was at university, I tried to hold off getting a mobile phone, which probably says something about my age, but I'm afraid that all I do now is talk about mobile phones and what we're doing. So, you know, it's really changed, and I think that I rarely make a call with my phone. Actually, I'm more doing emails, text messages, browsing on the web, and many applications which make my life much, much easier. And really, that's what the mobile is for me. It's just a way to make things easier. And I think the stuff that I'm going on to talk about will really accelerate that. Mobile penetration, we mentioned it with the students, but across the market, you know, you're looking at about over 80 million mobile subscribers, which compared to the population in the UK of over about 60, shows that many of us, I'm sure most of us in this room, have one or more phones in the pocket. And smartphones are increasing year on year. So one of the reasons why I'm so excited by the mobile is it plays such a big part in our lives. It's from the moment I wake up to my alarm on my phone to the moment I go to bed and I set my alarm. It really does help and it guides me throughout the day. And when we're looking at the mobile journey, and especially the retail community and what we're trying to do there, the mobile phone is a way to influence throughout the whole purchase cycle. We start with a pre-purchase, where we can interact and inform people with offers, with information, with content. And then the point of the purchase, which is very, very important. I think it was said in the previous session. That is one of the primary places where you can really push a message with a particular consumer in a retail environment. And then post-purchase as well. The mobile is another great opportunity to re-engage, whether that's warranty information, loyalty points, or just to thank them from a particular visit. It really does play that part throughout the whole chain. Now, what we're seeing with our consumers is the community is really in transition. It's in transition for a number of reasons. Previously, a lot of our clients would take software from us or from others in the market, and they were fearful of outsourcing. I think what we've seen now is they would like to reduce a lot of their pain points so they can focus on their core business. And we're seeing a growth in our managed payment service, our managed loyalty service as well. But a lot of the retailers are also trying to take multiple solutions from single sources. And I think this will really help with the mobile story because when it's a managed service, things can be enabled in a far easier manner than previously experienced. Retail as well, there are a few things that are happening to drive this. There's regulations certainly with a payment and security being a key part of payment, the regulations in which our retailers have to sort of adhere by are getting more and more difficult. So the likes of PCI DSS driving the market, driving change, which is a good time for new features and functions with the mobile. And also some of the other things that are happening in the market. With contactless payments, where I would tap a payment card, I was in, I think it was Pret earlier on before I came in here to grab a coffee, and it's really, really simple. I think when we extend some of those experiences to the mobile phone and look at multiple business cases, that's when it will be a fantastic feature for the retailer. And also ease of migration, looking at it from very large IT projects as we do. If it's difficult, if there's large-scale investment in hardware or changes, then people will be reluctant to take new features. So I think we need to be very mindful that there might be a business case there, but really does it stack up against a lot of the costs that certain projects come along with? So the figures here show on the strategy for mobile interactions. The figures came out last year, and I'm sure if I was to sort of do the survey again, I think the majority of our retailers would now have a plan in place. Here it was about 48% for their mobile interaction strategy. What this doesn't show is what their strategy end goal is. And we're finding that although just under 50% had a strategy in place, that could be store finders, it then could be reserving stock, before really you can either buy online or then go into a store and pick it up. And it's those kind of interactions which are getting certainly expanding as the years go on. Now, one thing that is really important with this is the way shoppers are really working is changing. And it's no longer I either go to a web channel or I go to an optimized website or I go to store. People are typically searching on home for a product, looking at reviews, looking for information. They then may be going into a store and having a look at it before then going online. And if I then look at something in a store but buy it on their website because I don't want to carry it home with me, that's not a missed sale, it's just a different way to interact. And again, I might go into store and return something as well. So I think a single consistent view of what the consumer's really doing is really important, especially when we come on to offers and targeting. It's really key that we understand what that particular consumer is doing. So what's been happening recently, this is the Google Wallet, which was released in the US last year, and their business model was based on coupons, discounts, but they also knew there had to be a payment element with it. So their particular application that it suppressed, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad. They've had one or two teething problems which they're ironing out, but I think it's a really good start of what the phone can mean. It's the start where I leave my real wallet at home and I pick up my phone and I can do everything I need to with my phone, in store, online, and it has everything I need stored within it. Competition to this solution is currently limited, certainly in the UK, but a lot of the telcos and other people are creating joint ventures because they understand the opportunity, and certainly when we speak to retailers, they understand what they can get out of this. They're just waiting to see the stages in which they have to go through to get to the end point. I don't think it's when. I don't think it's if. I think it's when. And I really think that when you look at multiple business cases for information, for content, for ads, and for payment, the business case does stack up. Where if you look at them in isolation, sometimes it's a difficult decision for spend.